Why is homelessness such a big issue in first world countries? I grew up in a developing country, albeit considered one of the best performing one. Then moved to a G7 country. Where I grew up, there are a lot of poor people, but they're not homeless because they do have a house. It's just that those places are slums, either next to garbage site, riverside, and thus in flood plain, or very small one next to a very small, and not well maintained, road. Ironically, next to a gated community area. Those places won't pass health inspection standard in my current country, and thus not as many places like that exist commonly here. So it's not that homelessness is not a big issue in other parts of the world. It's just that the first world country standard of housing is too high for poor people in those countries to have a place to live in. There's no market incentive to care about homeless people. Speaking for the US, our healthcare system is terrible, especially when it comes to treating mental illness and addiction, two conditions strongly correlated with homelessness. Once a person falls through the cracks, there are very few avenues to get them back into society. They need an address to get a job to get money to pay for a place to live, and places to live are very, very expensive. I paid for my home. Why are they getting one for free? Honestly, I'm reminded of the scene in the Underground Railroad where a bounty hunter asks a former slave if they aren't angry about all those freed slaves up north when she had to work for her freedom. Yeah, I paid a bunch for this place. But if you tell me homeless people are getting housed, then I'm not going to begrudge them that. Getting a roof over your head and a postal address solves a lot of problems and enables solving of others. Compared to what? If you look up homelessness rates by country, you have to go a long way down the list before you find what one would consider a first world country. Note this list doesn't include all countries in the world. So UK being number 35 is a long way down this particular list. Country, rank, homeless per 100k. Pipe, Syria, 1, 3,753. Somalia, 2, 1867, United Kingdom, 35, 54.4. Australia, 36, 49.1. France, 37, 45. USA, 55, 17.6, Japan, 85, 0. 3. Liechtenstein, 88, 0. If you look at this list, you'll see third world countries also fairly low on this list. So it's not all third world countries have high homelessness, and first world countries have low homelessness. But generally speaking, first world countries have less homelessness than third world countries. The reasons for homelessness are pretty diverse. Just because a society gives people the opportunity to not be homeless doesn't mean that they're guaranteed to not become homeless. And in general, there will be a mix of causal factors, both external and owing to the personal responsibility of the homeless person. First world countries also can't guarantee that people are sane and rational. They can be very detached from reality and adopt cult-like ideologies. This is why homelessness is an acute problem in America's most progressive cities. E.g. https u2.be/sv3iowaknalg. Because selling a place to live is big money, and if you give it away for free, then it's hard to make big money off it.
Rent.
I can't speak to other countries, but in the US it's because the country is aggressively capitalist, and solutions to homelessness would hurt the bottom line for rich people. Right now, investment companies like BlackRock are buying up homes and using them as investment opportunities. This is causing the price of homes to get higher and higher, making it harder and harder for people to afford homes. In theory, this could be fixed by affordable public housing. or regulations preventing buying up large numbers of homes that are being used as rental properties. But the rich folks don't want that. So, balancing an individual's freedom to be homeless with society's desire for no homelessness is part of the problem. Many homeless shelters in America have capacity to take more people, but something that's not well known is that many homeless people don't particularly like being around homeless people. They'd rather have their freedom to dwell wherever they want. There will always be people who don't want or cannot manage a lifestyle that allows them to afford living in a home that they pay for. Some will be able to live with their families or friends. Others will have to be homeless. The question is, can the government force these people to stay in homes specifically built for them? Feature, work till you die MFers. Not bug, gee, society in first world cultures is really nasty. Homes have recently stopped being treated as a commodity and have become platform investments for banks and rich people. There are homeless people all over the world and there are many of them. The difference is that in the developed world it seems that there are a lot of them just for one reason: they are simply helped. And the countries do not deny the existence of the problem. In the rest of the world they are simply beaten, or even imprisoned. Everything is done so that they do not interfere with other people. Because mental illness and substance abuse are modern-day leprosy. Homelessness is not a housing problem. It is mental problems and drug addiction problems. How do you stop addicts from using drugs? Because very few people actually care. They say they care to look good. And then they're ignorant of the issue within the same 15-second period. I don't care. I got my life to worry about. I'm pretty sure the problem is worse in more impoverished parts of the world, like Egypt or Nigeria. Can't really speak to why it is in all first world countries, or even the entirety of the country I live in, but I can speak to the city I live in, which has just had a homelessness state of emergency put on it, whatever that means. Anyways, I live in Portland. We have an incredible problem with homeless people in this city. It seems to stem from the fact that all drugs are decriminalized. Most homeless people you encounter here are junkies. I'm not judging. I'm a drug addict too. Nicotine. But most of the people here can't even walk straight, let alone work and function in society. It's really sad. Sometimes I bring my bottles and cans. We get 10 cents each recycling here, and give them to homeless people. I've also brought old warm clothes. But man, it's sad to see someone just passed out sitting straight up in the middle of the day on the sidewalk. Because even without mental health issues or addictions and everything being okay in a person's life, most people are paycheck to paycheck or just above it. One emergency surgery or crisis can and does often ruin people's lives, who, if they're lucky, have a support network. But if they don't, the bad can compound until they find themselves without anywhere to go. Well, first world countries are just rich countries. They got rich because they exploit other countries. When this exploitation becomes a part of the very economy of how the country runs, it will inevitably lead to internal exploitation, which instead of being based on geographical lines, it's often based on class lines. This concept of exploitation becomes the norm and leads regular people to believe if they exploit someone else's need for shelter by marking it up at a high price, that it's justifiable because it's the norm. So random people with wealth start buying land, homes, and because they know they can make money from it and can sustain their own lives through the exploitation of the housing market and people's necessity for housing. Because anywhere else they just refer to it as life.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Haircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.